Eastern North Carolina radio reading service, a United Way partner agency. We are located on the campus of Fayeteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is the 26th of October, 2017. It's Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, and your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy,
and we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayetteville Observer.
we're going to start off with the weather today, October 26th. This is Thursday, and your weather begins. Today the high is only going to be 65. We're had a low of 43. Going to Friday, we have a high of 73, a low of 49. Nice, with plenty of sunshine. Saturday, high of 75, a low of 59, and we may have a few showers in the afternoon. Now moving to Sunday, we're going to have some rain and a thunderstorm in the a.m. We'll have a high of 63 and a low of, ready, 38 degrees. Moving to Monday, high of 60, a low of 40. We'll have plenty of sun, but cool. Now what does Chick say? We have a nice picture of Chick in the paper. Chick says it's cooler and clearing. We may start the day with sprinkles across parts of the Cape Fear region, but nothing to worry about. The rest of the day will see clearing and temperatures more in line with late October. Look for highs in the upper 60s, dipping to the mid to lower 40s overnight. And look for dew points in the upper 30s. So you may follow Chick Jacobs online at Fayetteville Observer at Weather on Twitter.
Today in history. Today is Thursday, the 26th of October, the 299th day of 2017. There are 66 days left in this year. Today's highlights: on October 26th, 1881, the gunfight at the OK Corral took place in Tombstone, Arizona, as Wyatt Earp, his two brothers, and Doc Holliday confronted Ike Clanton's gang. 3 members of the Clanton's gang were killed. Earp's brothers and Holliday were merely wounded at the gunfight at the OK Corral. Today in history, in 1774, the First Continental Congress adjourned in Philadelphia. On today's date in history, in 1825, the Erie Canal opened in upstate New York, connecting Lake Erie and the Hudson River. In 1861, today in history, the legendary Pony Express officially ceased their operations, giving way to the Transcontinental Telegraph. The last run of the Pony Express was completed the following month, which would be November. On today's date in history, in 1921, the Chicago Theater, billed as the Wonder Theater of the World, first opened. On today's date in history, in 1949, President Harry S. Truman signed a measure raising the minimum wage from 40 to 75 cents an hour. On today's date in history, in 1958, Pan American Airways flew its first Boeing 707 jetliner from New York to Paris in 8 hours and 41 minutes. On today's date in history, in 1967, the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, crowned himself emperor after 26 years on the Peacock throne. On today's date in history, in 1972, National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger declared peace is at hand in Vietnam. On today's date in history, in 1984, baby Faye, a newborn with a severe heart defect, was given the heart of a baboon in an experiment transplant in Loma Linda, California. Baby Faye lived 21 days with the baboon's heart. On today's date in history, in 1994, Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin of Israel and Prime Minister Abdel Salam Majali of Jordan signed a peace treaty during a ceremony at the Israeli-Jordan border attended by none other than President Bill Clinton. And our birthdays for today: actress Shelley Morrison is 81. Actress Jacqueline Smith is 72. TV host Pat Sajak is 71, and everybody knows who Pat Sajak is. He is the MC, the Master of Ceremonies of Wheel of Fortune.
I love that show.
Do you really?
Yes, we watch it every night.
Hillary Rodham Clinton on today's date, along with Pat Sajak, is 70 years old. Actor Dylan McDermott is 56. Actor Carrie L. Weiss is 55. Country singer Keith Urban is 50. Actor Tom Cavanaugh is 49. Actress Rosemarie DeWitt is 46. Actor Jonathan Chase is 38. Olympic silver medal figure skater Sasha Cohen is 33. Rapper Schoolboy Q is 31. Actor Beulah Coley of the TV Hawaii 5-0 is 26 years old today, and that wraps up all of our celebrity birthdays for today.
All right, what do you need to know? If you want to volunteer, this is the time. We have a volunteer day where it's the staff at Carvers Creek State Park is looking for volunteers to help with various projects this Saturday from 9 to noon. Volunteers help with everything from working on old farm fences, culverts, leaf cleanup, trail creation, and other projects. Volunteers should be prepared for the weather. Bring a bottle of water and gloves. The park is at 2505 Long Valley Road in Spring Lake. And if you need more information on how to get there, get your pencils. Please call 436-4681. And 2, we have a pumpkin patch. A real one if you want to go pick your pumpkin. The Cedar Falls Baptist Church Pumpkin Patch is open at 6181 Ramsey Street through Tuesday. It's closed on Sunday. The hours are weekdays 11:30 to 7:30 p.m. and Saturday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The proceeds benefit the youth and summer mission trip and a week-long service project. Prices for pumpkin are $5 to $50 depending on the size of the community. Did you hear that, Clark?
That's kind of an expensive pumpkin.
That must be the very biggest one in the pack.
It has to be, because at Walmart I think they're $5 a piece.
No. Well, there's a community forum on Civil War monuments and memorials, and it's scheduled for 7 p.m. today at the headquarters library, 300 Maiden Lane. The moderated panel discussion will include remarks from experts. The moderator will be Peter Murray, and he is a professor of U.S. history at Methodist University. Panel members are Stanley Johnson, professor of U.S. history at North Texas State University, Harry L. Watson, professor of Southern culture at UNC Chapel Hill, Tom Hennessy, retired faculty member at Fayeteville State University, and David Winslow, senior consultant with the North Carolina Civil War History Center Foundation. The program is free, everyone, so for more information for the Civil War Monuments and Memorial discussion this evening, call 483-7727. Now, we want to hear from you, readers, and we want to hear what's going on and what you got planned. So please submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance and email your calendar at fayobserver.com or fax your details to 486-3545. If you have any questions, call 486-3500.
And here is some information from the Live Wire and the Observer staff.
What you got over there?
Department of Transportation is to look at intersections where risky U-turns happen. Question. Recently, Livewire reported that the barrels on US 301 South are there for safety. In that same area on South Gillespie Street at Elk Road, there is not a left turn lane or a lane at the light, but people are still turning left there to make their U-turns, and that is not safe. I saw a car almost get hit when it made a quick left. The car behind it had to slide onto the grass to avoid a collision. Also going south on Gillespie, just past Owen Drive, people are crossing over to get to Popeyes instead of going up to the light and making a U-turn. My question is, are there plans to close or block that crossover? This was written in by R.P. of Hope Mills. Answer. Donovan Hunt, resident engineers with the State Department of Transportation, DOT, said that you are correct, that there is no left turn lane for traffic headed south on US 301 at Elk Road. If folks are making a U-turn at this area, they are turning at their own risk, said Donovan Hunt. Donovan Hunt said the DOT's Traffic Services Unit will take a look at the location to see if a no U-turn sign is needed. Regarding the situation at Popeyes, which is one of my favorite restaurants.
Mine too.
Really, I love fried chicken. Finger licking good. Oh, that's the other one. Anyway, an island will be extended there that will block the crossover and extend the dual left turn lanes, said Donovan Hunt. And this was written by Steve Devane, a staff writer for the Fayetteville Observer. Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest and consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. You may contact Livewire at livewire@fayobserver.com, or you may call Livewire at 910-486-3516.
All right, are you seeking employment? Please listen up. The Social Services Department interviews for vacancies. Now, Steve Devane, a staff writer, is telling us about this article, writing it for us. Cumberland County's Department of Social Services is taking steps to fill more than 125 vacant positions.
Wow.
On staff. 125.
Wonder what happened.
I'm going to tell you. Social Service Director Brenda Jackson told the Social Services Board on Wednesday that the vacancies, which represent nearly 18% of the department's staff, resulted in part because of a hiring freeze when the county was dealing with a budget shortfall earlier this year. The department was not able to hire anyone for about 3 months, she said. That makes a difference, she said. Jackson said she hopes an interview blitz earlier this month will help the department catch up on hiring workers. Assistant Director Sandy Connor said the effort helped the Children's Services section find 24 potential social workers. The area has 23 vacancies, she said. The Economic Services section has 69 vacancies, due in part because some of its workers have been promoted to work in other parts of the department, according to Vivian Tukes, the section chief. Tukes said the department also is losing some workers to other counties which are offering bonuses and more flexible schedules. Our numbers are not normally that high, she said. Jackson said some workers who have left indicated they were going back to school or their spouse was being reassigned by the military. She said the reasons for leaving do not appear to be because of a dislike for working at the department. We're not hearing that, she said. In other action at the board meeting, Connor said a team is working on the county's community child abuse prevention plan. Jackson said the plan is being finalized. It is expected to be presented to county commissioners next month. The department also is working on a plan to to consolidate its two-group homes for troubled youth, Jackson said. Workers have noticed a decrease in the number of young people in the homes since about 18 months ago, she said. That proposal also will be submitted to commissioners, Jackson said. Now you can talk to staff writer Steve Devane and you may write him at sdevane@fayobserver.com or give Steve a call at 486-3572.
And now we have a little breaking news. A Methodist professor charged with possessing child porn.
Oh no.
A Methodist University professor is accused of possessing child pornography.
Cannot.
Stephen Philip Bray, 53, of the 5700 block of Danville Drive in Fayeteville, was arrested earlier this week by Cary police and charged with 18 counts of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, WRAL reported. Cary police received a tip that led to the Methodist University Stephen Philip Bray's arrest. Cary police made the arrest because internet-based crimes do not have to take place in a department's jurisdiction, according to WRAL. Police searched Bray's computer and found pornography. They have confirmed that none of the victims are from Cary or Fayetteville, WRAL said. Professor Stephen Philip Bray is an associate professor of religion, according to the college's website. He is now being held in the Wake County Detention Center with bail set at $1 million, according to the facility's website. This article was written by Nancy McCleary.
Wow.
That's what I say.
Well, here's more. These are the arrests in Cumberland County. Matthew Antonio Bell, age 35, of the 6900 block of Timberwood Drive, was charged Wednesday with breaking and entering, larceny, and obtaining property by false pretense. Bail was set at $2,500. Ryan Michael Stevens, age 32, of the 900 block of Lisa Avenue, was charged Wednesday with 3 counts of larceny of a firearm, 1 count each of conspiracy to robbery with a dangerous weapon, and misdemeanor assault with a deadly weapon. Bail was set at $10,000. Brittany Nicole Smart, age 25, of the 200 block of Tiffany Court, was charged Wednesday with conspiracy to obtain property by false pretense. Bail was set at $5,000. LaQuandra Denise Monroe, age 24, of a 1000 block of Hickory Street, was charged Wednesday with obtaining property by false pretense. Bail was set at $500. Jaylon Juwan Jackson, age 17, of the 900 block of Scully Drive, was charged Wednesday with common law robbery and conspiracy. Bail was set at $50,000. Michael Baez, age 29, of the 5900 block of Bloomsbury Drive, was charged Wednesday with possession with intent to manufacture, sell, or deliver a controlled substance, maintaining a drug dwelling or vehicle, and misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. Bail was set at $6,000. And finally, Frederick Rashid Monroe, age 24, of the 1800 block of Dewsbury Place, was charged Wednesday with receiving or transferring stolen vehicles and possession of cocaine. Bail was set at $12,500. And these are the Cumberland County arrests for today.
A Fayetteville teenager was charged with robbery and theft. A Fayetteville teenager is accused of armed robbery and other charges in 2 separate incidents, arrest warrants say. Jamaica Dajuan Whitehead, 17, of the 300 block of Nottingham Drive, was charged Wednesday with 2 counts of possessing stolen property and 1 count each of robbery with a dangerous weapon, conspiracy, and larceny from the person. Jamaica Dajuan Whitehead, or I believe that's Whitted, is accused of robbing a woman at gunpoint on the 8th of October 2017, taking a cell phone, a backpack, and money. The property was valued at $760, a warrant said. Whitted also is accused of taking a gym bag containing $50, a wallet, and prescription medications on the 26th of August 2017, and that property was valued at $581. The arresting officer wrote on another document that the highest possible bail was recommended because Whitted has pending break-in and weapons charges. Jamaica Dajuan Whitted has pending charges to include breaking and entering a motor vehicle, possessing a stolen firearm, and multiple misdemeanor offenses, according to the North Carolina court system website. The magistrate hearing the case set the bail at $120,000, writing that Whitted was a danger to the public. This article was written also by Nancy McCleary.
Will CNN's Facebook ad work? Let's see what Leonard Pitts Jr. says. Here we go. You see an apple, but not just any apple, perfect in color, perfect in shape, and without blemish. This is the apple other apples dream of being. It is the acme of apples, the most apple-y apple you ever saw, and you'd never mistake it for something else. This is an apple, says the male voice, as the piano idles aimlessly. Some people might try to tell you that it's banana. They might scream banana, 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 over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana, but it is not. This is an apple. The apple's bona fides, thus established, a tagline flashes on screen. Facts first! Then comes a logo, CNN. This goes an ad that debuted Monday on Facebook. Here's hoping it's effective. The truth needs all the help it can get in an era where untruth spews from the highest levels of American governance with a brazenness and frequency never seen before. Still, there's something a little rich in the fact that the spot was produced by a network known for shows where pundits and boxes yell half-truths over one another. The best of them, meaning the worst of them, was Jeffrey Lord, the Donald Trump surrogate, who, before he was fired in August for tweeting a Nazi salute, made jaws drop on a regular basis with the crazy things he said, such as when he called the Ku Klux Klan a leftist terrorist organization and said Black Lives Matter caused the rise of white supremacy, and blamed singer Ariana Grande for the terrorist attack at her concert in England. It's bad enough Lord spewed that nonsense. What's worse is CNN gave him the platform to do so. The network would likely say that it just wants to make sure all viewpoints are represented. But the barrenness of that rationale was exposed 13 years ago in a commentary Emory psychology professor Drew Weston did for NPR. He had noticed how CNN brought in Republican and Democratic flacks to comment on claims that weapons were missing from an Iraq munitions dump. But these were not claims, said Weston. It was the fact the weapons were missing, and also a fact that this was an embarrassment for the Bush White House. He concluded that CNN failed to frame it as such, brought in left and right talking heads to cover itself out of fear that reporting the truth would be seen as bias. We have, he said, grown accustomed to hearing two versions of every story, one from the left, one from the right, as if the average of these two distortions equals the truth. That's how squeamish news media were over a decade ago. It's only gotten worse since then. To be sure, CNN does not bear all or even most of the responsibility for America's retreat into facts-free incoherence. For that, blame the Internet, which gives lies greater reach, the schools, which did not demand critical thinking, the politicians who acted like politicians, and all of news media, both print and electronic. CNN, like many others, has embraced false equivalences in the search for the mythic beast, objectivity, has sought to suspend the role of judgment in journalism, as if the one did not, by definition, require the other. Now the proverbial chickens come home to roost. Our president is a liar. Our Congress is a circus. Our friends are frightened. Our enemies emboldened. And our society is pulling itself apart. This, we are told, constitutes making America great again. And some believe it. Why not? A country that can't tell apples from bananas is a country that will swallow anything. Now, you can reach Leonard Pitts Jr., and remember he was the winner of the 2004 Pulitzer Prize for commentary, and he is a columnist for the Miami Herald. The address is 3511 Northwest 91 Avenue, Doral, Florida, 33172. Readers, you may write to him via email at lpitts@miamiherald.com.
And here's a little bit of information about Fats Domino. Fats Domino dies at age 89. This was written for us by Stacy Plaisance and Janet McConaughey of the Associated Press. New Orleans. Fats Domino, the amiable rock and roll pioneer whose steady pounding piano and easy baritone helped change popular music while honoring the traditions of the Crescent City, has died. He was 89 years old. Mark Boone, chief investigator with the Jefferson Parish of Louisiana's coroner's office, said Fats Domino died of natural causes early Tuesday. In appearance, he was no matinee idol. He stood 5'5" and weighed more than 200 pounds, with a wide, boyish smile and a haircut as flat as an album cover. But Domino sold more than 110 million records with hits including Blueberry Hill and Ain't That a Shame, originally titled Ain't It a Shame, and other standards of rock and roll. Fats Domino was one of the first 10 honorees named to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rolling Stone Record Guide likened him to Benjamin Franklin, the beloved old man of a revolutionary movement. We have lowered the flag and we are playing his music all day, said Greg Harris, the CEO of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Fats Domino is the godfather of rock and roll, said Greg Harris. On behalf of the people of New Orleans, I am eternally grateful for his life and legacy. New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu said in a news release Wednesday morning, Fats Domino added to New Orleans' standing in the world and what people know and appreciate about New Orleans. I can't wrap my arms around him being gone, said Quint Davis, producer of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival and decades-long friend of Fats Domino. He said, only two people from New Orleans have changed the music of the world: jazz legend Louis Armstrong and Fats Domino. Little Richard, another founding father of rock and roll, said in a phone interview, Fats Domino was one of my greatest inspiration. Now, believe me, God was tops, but earthly Fats Domino was it. He was the bee's knees. He could play jazz and he could play anything, Little Richard said. He was one of the greatest entertainers I have ever known in my life. And here's an addition to the Fats Domino story. Fats Domino had a notorious connection to Fayetteville. But before I read that little bit of information, I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in your mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy,
and we are proud to serve you today. And now to continue with that notorious connection to Fayetteville about Fats Domino, the rock and roller jumped from a window to avoid a crowd fight. This was written by Michael Futch, a staff writer. Fats Domino may have found his thrill on Blueberry Hill, but he once bounded from a window at a Fayetteville show to save his own neck. That notorious appearance after a fight broke out in an unruly crowd at Breese's Landing Hall near the banks of Cape Fear River made the pages of Jet magazine. Domino died Wednesday, one of rock and roll's storied founding members. He was 89 years old. His gig in Fayetteville was on November 2nd, 1956. According to various accounts, the rollicking pianist had emerged as a steady hitmaker in the 1950s and the early 1960s with such catchy numbers as Blueberry Hill, I'm Walkin' and Walkin' to New Orleans, and he was playing a date at the old landing hall on North Water Street. Built in 1940 as Breese's Ballroom, the small cinder block building was a hotspot for live music during the 40s and 50s in this town. Such popular entertainers such as Duke Ellington, Tommy Dorsey, Cab Calloway, James Brown, Etta James, Nat King Cole, Little Richard, and Lloyd Price also were known to have played at Breese's Ballroom. The night Fats Domino was in town, the melee broke out with the charismatic singer and his band rocking the joint. The police threw tear gas to disperse the unruly crowd, and Fats Domino checked out through a window to avoid the brawl. Some accounts say he and a couple of members of his band were slightly injured. Jimmy Pay, who was among the first black radio personalities in Fayetteville, a promoter of rhythm and blues shows, and a funeral home owner, said in a 1997 interview with the Fayetteville Observer that he was busy counting up the money when the fight broke out during the early part of Fats Domino's set. He went out of that window, and I remember that much, he recalled. The whole band that was trying to get out of that little tiny window, to include all of those drums. Betty Taylor, who was living on North Water Street in 1997, said she remembered talk of the incident with Fats Domino and his band. But Betty Taylor heard from friends that Fats Domino had been thrown out of the window. He said he'd never come back to Fayetteville. He said Fayetteville was a rough town. Staff writer Michael Futch wrote this, and you can reach him if you want to talk more about this article about Fats Domino. You can call him at 910-486-3529.
Letter to the Observer, and this one I wish I knew about because I'm an artist and I would have given them some of my work to sell. Great news! Connections of Cumberland County's recent art auction, Home is Where the Heart Is, was an outstanding success. The Board of Directors and staff of Connections thank all who made this event possible. We extend a special thanks to the 35 local artists who so willingly donated a total of 70 plus pieces of amazing art. The sold-out crowd of 150 guests who purchased almost every piece of art, and our 23 generous sponsors. It was truly an exciting event, thanks to so many. The best part of the evening was our net of approximately $16,500 for our first-time fundraiser. This amount will enable Connections to assist the homeless children and mothers who come to our day resource center seeking safe housing and help with other dire needs. These proceeds will be used for housing and utility deposits, quality daycare, supervised after-school care, children's summer programs in a safe and caring environment, and educational materials for mother-child reading workshops. Connections operates the only walk-in day resource center with comprehensive case management designed to serve women and children who are homeless or facing homelessness and to empower them to become self-reliant. Thanks again to everyone who assisted us with this event and it's enabling us to provide these much-needed services. A total of 1,219 women and children have received services at our resource center from July 2014, when the organization began, through October 2017. A total of 673 women and children have been assisted with by obtaining or maintaining stable housing during this time. Now, Patty Colley, Connections Board Chair, Lucy Joins, Connection Board's Vice Chair from Fayetteville, wrote this article.
And the last rodeo roundup at Festival Park. Popular series could resume at another site. This was written by Michael Futch, a staff writer for the Fayetteville Observer. Kathy and Bob Swartzky waited patiently for Babon's Southern Fried Chicken food truck to open Wednesday in the Festival Park. Where's the truck? The gathering of food trucks downtown has become a standing Wednesday lunch date for the couple. Unfortunately, this was probably their last one for a while. After 22 consecutive dates, no more food trucks are scheduled until the spring. At the virtual food court on wheels in the downtown park, the Bands was one of the 8 vendors serving the public from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Where's the Truck began on the 31st of May, eventually expanding its dates and locations to include Hope Mills, Spring Lake, and Village Drive in Fayetteville. This was the 52nd even. Wednesday's theme was billed as the Best Chili Showcase, with vendors expected to come up with at least one menu item centered on chili. We've been here every time, but 69-year-old Kathy Swartzky said of the events at Festival Park. This is our Wednesday date. We zip up here every Wednesday for lunch. The two are retired public school teachers who live in the city of Fayetteville. It's exciting for retired teachers, she said with a big giant chuckle. I'm a big believer in downtown Fayetteville. Alyssa Hennessy, who heads up events and promotions for the sponsoring Center for Economic Empowerment and Development, said the events have proven a big success. The week before, she said, all 8 participating trucks sold out with more than 700 customers coming out to be served. The weekly crowds at Festival Park have averaged from 400 to 500 people, said Alyssa Hennessy, who heads up promotions for the Center of Economic Empowerment and Development. I know definitely they have been more successful than people anticipated. When the first one was coming up, a gentleman said to me, of all the nerve, he said, "You will be lucky to get 50 people." That particular one, we had like 600 people. Seed said more than 9,000 people have picked up lunch in the park at Where is the Truck event. The other locations saw what we were doing, said Alyssa Hennessy, and they wanted to get on board and have some fun too, but what really they meant was they wanted to make some money too. She said Seed had gotten a lot of support from the town of Spring Lake and from areas of the Hope Mills area. She said she's anxious to create stronger ties with Hope Mills and other municipalities in the hopes of scheduling similar events in other places. Generally, the cost of lunch from a participating food truck may range from $4 to $14, with an average of about $8 a meal. On Wednesday, customers could choose from limited menus offered at the Band's, Our Burger, the Blind Pig, Authentic Cafe, the Hans Kitchen, Skewed Up, NC Wings and Things, and Hopkins Barbecue. Alyssa Hennessy said they hope to continue the food truck rodeos that they call Where's the Truck? We're going to keep going and working with food trucks. Fayetteville City Council only approved us through the end of October. Glenda McDuffie sure hopes the event will resume in the near future. I just love to eat, said McDuffie, who is 64 years old and from Fayetteville. The best idea ever. I wish they could keep it up all year long. Carlos Jones and Mike Hopkins, who own Hopkins Barbecue Truck, said the series has been good for their 2.5-year-old small business. We've done half a dozen, said Hopkins, and we have done very good. We sold out the last time we were here. Perhaps even better for a business that took a major hit a year ago when their food truck suffered extensive flood damage from, guess who? Hurricane Matthew. And it is the publicity from the well-attended events that pulled us out from financial disaster. Alyssa Hennessy said there's a chance that the food truck rodeos could resume in mid-November and possibly at another downtown site. This is good, said Ryan Sands, age 42, who was eating pulled chicken, fries, and a little chili at one of the picnic tables set up by Cross Creek. I kind of wish it were a little out more in Fayetteville, way out there where I live. But this is good, he said. I like food trucks. Staff writer Michael Futch can be reached at mfutch@fayobserver.com. or you may call staff writer Michael Futch at 910-486-3529. And Nancy and I would like to make a little comment about the food truck rodeo called Where's the Truck? We went to the first couple of rodeos, and I'm going to tell you folks, if you're not there early, you can just bet you're going to wait in line for an hour and a half to get up to that food truck, because this is a popular thing. So my advice, if you're going to go to one of these things and you are hungry, you need to get there before it opens. Remember, it starts at 11. So I would recommend getting there by 10:30. Scope out which truck you want to stand in front of and stand there and wait until they open. Otherwise, right, Nancy?
Otherwise, and it might be all gone.
And you'll have to wait a couple of hours. Who wants to wait? Right?
Right.
Okay.
All right, now, Clark, we're going to talk about something you and I have experienced, and that is living in an older house.
Yes, we have.
And how it uses energy. So the program aids home energy needs. This is by Roger Mullen. Kim Howard still lives in the house she grew up in on Gola Street in the Broadell neighborhood. Howard knew the more than 50-year-old house had issues that were contributing to high energy costs, but she didn't know the extent of it until Power Up NC paid a visit. They found I had some insulation in my attic that was not properly installed, and there was no insulation under the house.
Oh no,
Howard said. It was a real eye-opener. Howard, who moved back into the house in 2002 after living away, is one of 4 local homeowners who have been helped by Power NC, a statewide program, which started earlier this year. The program, part of the NC League of Conservation Voters Foundation, helps lower-income homeowners identify and fix problems that may be increasing their energy bills and contributing to climate change. The program also trains people to fix the homes and work in jobs in the green energy field. The goal is to help people who are struggling with high energy costs to reduce their bills and have their homes refitted and weatherized, said Monique McMillan, Regional Director of the program. McMillan said workers with the program began identifying homes that would benefit from the program early this year. The workers were trained at Fayeteville Technical Community College. Other partners in the program were Habitat for Humanity, Operation Inasmuch, and the NC Works Career Center of Cumberland County. We did a whole lot of door knocking back in January, McMillan said. 4 homes in particular need were selected for the pilot program. They are in neighborhoods around Fayetteville State University and Smith Recreation Center. Workers investigated the homes to determine energy needs and problems. One home on Eaton Street that was selected belongs to a 95-year-old man who was in the hospital after a fall. Keith Wells, a senior crew member with the program, said he discovered 9 leaks in the gas line leading to the home's oven. The carbon monoxide level in the house was very high. It's disconnected, it's flagged, Wells said, of the problems with the oven. Also, Wells said a gas hot water heater in the house was heating to 158 degrees when it should have only been heating to 120. Insulation in the attic was insufficient. McMillan said the program has a budget of $4,000 per home to fix problems, but some houses need much more work than that. Howard's was the first house done under the program. They came in and did a really thorough assessment, she said. They had some real state-of-the-art equipment. While the program couldn't fix all the energy wasting problems they found with her house, Howard said she is glad at least to have a handle on what needs to be done. It was good to know so that I will know what direction to go in, she said. Now you can reach staff writer Roger Mullen, and he's at rmullen@fayobserver.com, or give Roger a call at 486-3561.
And from the Cheers and Jeers. Cheer for the AC service I received. Cheers to Blanton's Heating and Air Conditioning Service.
We know them.
A local contractor was digging in my front yard and accidentally hit power cables, which affected my air conditioning unit. I contacted Blanton's. Matthew P. arrived on site a little while later and properly diagnosed the issue within minutes. He troubleshot the unit all the way back to the thermostat. Matthew P. was very informative and helped me understand exactly what he was doing and why he was doing it. I cannot thank I cannot thank Angela, Amanda, Matthew, and Blanton's enough for being trustworthy, respectable, patient, and understanding. Now folks, if you want a 5-star air conditioning service, this is the company to call. And this Cheers was written by Chris Young of Hope Mills.
Alright, this very interesting article by Myron B. Pitts. Personal quest for health led to Winter Bloom Loose Tea Shop. Tea shop owner Josh Choi speaks passionately about the health benefits of loose tea. For Choi, age 32, the subject is not just business but personal. He got into loose tea or unbagged tea a few years ago as a 20-something who had been diagnosed with high blood pressure. His wife blamed the energy drinks he chugged down to stay alert. Choi dropped those drinks and picked up coffee. But hot coffee was too acidic for me, he said. I tried it for like 2 straight months. It just didn't agree. As a necessity for caffeine, I jumped to the next best option, which was tea. He found that a category called purer could help with blood pressure. He worked on his diet too and made other lifestyle changes. Once I started researching more tea and getting down that rabbit hole, all these health benefits associated with tea, I just thought to myself, why aren't we all drinking a little bit of tea? Choi is doing his part to spread the gospel. Winter Bloom Tea, located on Hay Street, carries more than 90 varieties. He says he likes it when people come into the shop not knowing anything about drinking or buying loose tea. These are my favorite customers, he says. As long as they have an open mind, I've been there. I know where they're at. They just need someone to help guide them in the right direction toward the world of tea. He adds, tea is one of those things. It's going to be a lifestyle change. I don't think tea necessarily competes with coffee. I know a lot of people who do coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon. Everyone tries to create a separation where I'm team coffee, I'm team tea, but they are very symbiotic. Choi's shop is one of my favorite places. The decor is comfortable, simple, neat, and peaceful. I first encountered loose tea at Tivana, a mall-based chain. For a few years I had stopped drinking tea on a regular basis, and for no particular reason even misplaced my little teapot. Then Winter Bloom opened in the fall of 2016. Like many of Choi's first-timers, I answered his question as to what kind of tea I wanted by talking about what I was looking for in terms of mood. Something with a bit of punch during the day, I believe I told him. Something at night to help ease me into a good night's sleep. He recommended the Orange Blossom and the Jasmine Mint. Both are green teas which are packed with antitoxins. The lighter the tea, the more antitoxins, he said. The darker the tea, you lose some of the antitoxins, but you gain in minerals. As for the taste, Winter Bloom had me with the first few sips. These days my base tea has become the Earl Grey, a black tea, but that may change as I experiment. Trips to China. Choi's head for business comes to him naturally. His parents, who worked at the House of Rayford turkey plant before it burned down, own Ideal Cleaners on Raleigh Road. Choi worked there for 15 years, got a good sense of how to deal with customers. He graduated from Massey Hill Classical High School in Fayeteville State University, but he is one of those people who, in a sense, is a lifelong student when it comes to learning more about subjects that interest him. He started researching tea intensely. He soon realized the bag teas we buy at the supermarket are stripped of tea's natural health benefits. He also found loose tea was hard to find in Fayetteville, and buying online brought him teas that were sometimes great, sometimes horrible. When Choi and his wife traveled to China, where she has family, he went to tea shops and the National Tea Museum in Hangzhou. It's a whole different culture, he says. Tea is consumed at every meal. Tea is just everywhere, he said. Hot water spigots for tea making were valuable like water fountains are here. Tea is actually the second most consumed beverage in the world, just not in America, he said. I went to China and came back with a whole suitcase full of tea. Choi brought the tea for his own health, he said, but found himself telling friend, "There's a tea for that," when they mentioned an ailment that they had or a concern. Eventually, someone recommended he start his own shop, which he says was the best lesson he learned to take it day to day. Try to make the best cup of tea that you can per person, he says, and then try to give the knowledge to each person that day. Now, columnist Myron B. Pitts can be reached at mpitts@fayobserver.com, or you may call Myron at 486-3559. Okay, the Observer reviews candidates' backgrounds. Most candidates for the Fayetteville City Council had some encounter with law enforcement in their lifetime. Fayetteville Observer spent more than a week reviewing scores of criminal and civil court records for all 18 candidates running in contested races for mayor and the council. The newspaper found many minor infractions, such as speeding or not wearing a seatbelt, and a few more serious charges. As far as the Observer could determine, none of the candidates had been convicted of a felony. The Observer relied on public record searches of North Carolina's criminal and civil court databases, along with related court documents. Mayor candidates. Mayor Nat Robertson, running for the third time, has occasional traffic violations on his record. A 1997 misdemeanor charge of operating a boat without a life preserver or similar device on board was dismissed by the district attorney's office in Bladen County. Robertson said he had been cited for reading a personal watercraft without a life jacket. Challenger Mitch Colvin, a two-term councilman and mayor pro tem, has had traffic infractions over the year, in addition to arrests when he was young. In 1991, Colvin pleaded guilty to misdemeanor larceny. In an interview, he said he took donuts from a grocery store without paying for them when he was 16. In 1992, when 19, Colvin was convicted of carrying a concealed firearm and possession of a small amount of marijuana, both misdemeanors. Colvin said he had been arrested with several other people who were riding in his car. Politics.
The time now is 11 o'clock in the morning. It's Thursday, the 26th of October, 2017. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayeteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
Politics in the courtroom. Like the leaders of the General Assembly, North Carolina Supreme Court Chief Justice Mark Martin is a Republican. Unlike those legislative leaders, Martin doesn't appear interested in efforts to further politicize North Carolina's courts. The state's top judge has long been leery of moves that will inject more politics into the judiciary. And this week, he issued a statement opposing a proposed by GOP legislators to cut judges' terms in 2 years. Martin said the move would disrupt the administration of justice. 2-year terms, Martin believes, will force judges to engage in almost continuous campaigning and fundraising, just the way it is for the professional politicians in the General Assembly. That would not be a good thing for the impartial administration of justice, which is a judge's first duty. It's one of many legislative efforts we've seen in Raleigh to politicize our court system. That includes a return to requiring that a judicial candidate's political affiliation is listed on the ballot, and forcing unofficiated judges to collect signatures to get on the ballot, a task not required of partisan judges. A proposed remapping of judicial districts is likely another effort in that direction. It's true that the current districts were drawn long ago, and many of them are outdated, but we'd be a lot more comfortable if new districts were drawn by impartial, nonpartisan professionals. We don't need to have our judicial district lines tied up in endless court battles, too. Last summer, Martin said he'd much prefer a judiciary chosen by a merit selection in which an independent panel of legal experts vets judicial candidates and recommends them for appointment, most often by the governor. Some version of that is how judges are chosen in the majority of states. It would be an improvement here. But for now, we'll take a smaller victory and be happy if a 2-year term vanishes. The judiciary should be about the law, not politics. Let's move to the obituaries in news. The death notices. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for complete obituary information. In Cumberland County, Walter Whitfield, age 82, of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Bernice McDonald, age 82, of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Sherwood Tyndall, age 63, of Fayetteville, Lafayette Funeral Home. Marvin Monroe, age 85, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Moving to the Cape Fear region, James Bowie, age 99, of Charlotte, formerly of Rayford Bowie Funeral Home. Gary de Morinville, age 70, of Lillington, Affordable Cremations of North Carolina. Harold Langley Sr., age 76, of Laurel Hill, Richard Bowles Funeral Service. And the funerals for today: Baldwin Furman, age 57, of Wagram, 3 p.m., Purcell Funeral Home, Chapel, Laurinburg. Burial Spring Branch Matthews Memorial Gardens in Wagram, Purcell Funeral Home, Laurinburg. Paula Ernest, age 66, of Red Springs, 4 p.m., the gravesite Hillman Grove Baptist Church Cemetery. The burial will be at Hillman Grove Baptist Church Cemetery, the Adcock Funeral Home. Brothers Johnny, age 83, of Rayford, 2 p.m. at the Bowie Funeral Home Chapel. Burial will be at the Jackson Family Cemetery, Bowie Funeral Home. Campbell Brenda, age 63, of Laurinburg, 1 p.m., McFadder Funeral Home, McFadder Funeral Home of Laurel Hill. Underwood Daniel, age 81, of Stedman, 3 p.m., Rogers and Breeze Funeral Home Chapel, Rogers and Breeze Funeral Home. Hall Catherine, age 87, of Fayeteville, 1 p.m., gravesite burial, Lafayette Memorial Park, Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Moving to Cumberland County, Steve A. Strickland, age 63, died Tuesday, October 24, 2017, at his home. Visitation will take place Friday, October 27th at Adcock Funeral Home in Spring Lake, North Carolina, from 6 to 8 p.m. Funeral service will be held at Cedar Falls Baptist Church in Fayeteville, North Carolina, on Saturday, October 28th at 10 a.m. Helen B. Black, Helen Brockenborough Black, age 88, passed away Tuesday, October 24th, 2017. Funeral services will be held Saturday, October 28th, 2017 at 1 p.m. at Jernigan Warren Chapel. Family will receive friends Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m., 1 hour prior to the service at Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Interment will be held Monday, October 30th at 1 p.m. in Forest Lawn Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia. In lieu of flowers, it is a request that memorial gifts be made to the Blind Cat Rescue and Sanctuary, 74 Prairie Lane, St. Paul's, North Carolina, 28384. Emma Lee Dixon, age 83, of Fayetteville, died Saturday, October 21st. The funeral will be Saturday at 2 p.m. Refuge Community Church. Refuge Community Church Saturday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. The burial at Rolling Green Memorial Park, Westchester, Pennsylvania. Reeves Funeral Home. Michael Nam. Michael Nam, age 25, of Asheville, died Sunday, October 22nd, 2017. Memorial will be Thursday, 7 p.m. at the Korean Presbyterian Church, Ireland Drive. The visitation at the Korean Presbyterian Church, Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. And the burial will be at Cumberland Gardens, Friday at 10:30 at Ray Funeral and Cremation Services. Robert Lewis Boston from Hope Mills died Sunday, October 15th, 2017. His funeral will be Saturday, 11 a.m. Chapel viewing at the funeral home, Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and their burial will be at Mount Hebrew Church Cemetery in Parkton Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Lenora King, 59 in Fayeteville, died Saturday, October 21st. The funeral will be Friday at noon. Williams Chapel Church. Visitation Cunningham and Sons, Mortuary Chapel, Thursday 1 to 7 p.m. Then the burial will be at the Hillside Cemetery, Cunningham and Sons. Glenn Moore, Fayetteville, age 57, died Wednesday, October 18th, 2017. There is no service planned. Rogers and Breese Funeral Home, Saturday 6 to 8 p.m. Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. David R. Baxley Jr., Holly Ridge. Captain David Roma Baxley Jr., age 58, of Holly Ridge, North Carolina, passed away suddenly on Saturday, October 21st, 2017. A memorial service to celebrate his life will be held at 4 p.m. on Saturday, October 28th, at Jones Funeral Home on Dyson Street in Holly Ridge. Pastor David Kennedy of the family will be officiating. Flowers may be sent to Jones Funeral Home at 122 North Dyson Street, Holly Ridge. In lieu of flowers, the family would appreciate contributions to Thurston Arthritis Research Center, care of the UNC at Chapel Hill, 3300 Thurston Boulevard, CB number 7280, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599-7280. Electronic condolences may be left for the family at www.jonesfh.org.
Additional funerals in the area. John Wishart Campbell, age 94, of Lumberton, passed away peacefully October 24th, 2017, at his residence in Lumberton. A memorial service will be held on the 27th of October, 2017, at 11 a.m. at First Presbyterian, Elba Blanco Faircloth, age 89, a loving wife and mother, entered eternal heaven on the 19th of October, 2017. Relatives and friends of the family are invited to attend the memorial service on Friday, on the 27th of October, 2017, at 2 p.m. at the Garden of Memories Funeral Home, located at 4900 Airline Drive in Metairie, Louisiana, and the visitation will begin at 12 p.m. until the service time. Online condolences may be offered at www.gardenofmemoriesmetairie.com. Vanetta Stansel Sutton, age 75, of Southern Pines, died Monday, 23 October 2017. The funeral will be Friday at noon at the Worship Center in Southern Pines. Visitation will be at the church on Friday from 11 a.m. until noon. The burial will be at Pine Lawn Memorial Park, Southern Pines. The Simon Funeral Home of Southern Pines has been entrusted with those services. Charles Shad Gasquet, age 67, of Parkton, died Tuesday, 24 October 2017. The funeral will be this Friday at 2 p.m. at the Bowles St. Paul's Funeral Home, Chapel. The visitation will be at the Bowles St. Paul's Funeral Home, Chapel on Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The burial will be at Oak Ridge Cemetery in St. Paul's. The Bowles St. Paul's Funeral Home has been entrusted with those funeral services. Shelton Calder Jr., age 69, of Clinton, died Wednesday, 25 October 2017. The memorial will be on Friday at 1 p.m. in the Rowan Baptist Church. The visitation is to follow the memorial. The Crumpler Honeycutt Funeral Home has been entrusted with the funeral services. Miracle Bella Day, the 9-month-old infant of Rayford, died Thursday on the 19th of October 2017. The funeral will be Saturday at 2 p.m. at the chapel, and the viewing will be at the funeral home on Friday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The burial will be at the Highland Biblical Gardens in Rayford. Herring Funeral Care and Cremations are entrusted with those services. Margaret Peggy Harris, age 76, of Rayford, died Tuesday, 24 October 2017. The funeral will be on Friday at 2 p.m. at the Rayford Church of God of Prophecy. The visitation will be at the Crumpler Funeral Home Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and the burial will be at the Rayford Cemetery. Crumpler Funeral Home has been entrusted with those services. Bertha Lucille Jackson, age 93, of the Eastwood Community, West End, died Sunday, 22 October 2017. The memorial will be on Saturday at 2 p.m. at the St. Matthew's Chapel, West End. Simon Funeral Home of Southern Pines has been entrusted with those services.
Well, after those obituaries, let's look at Billy Graham for some comfort. Turn to God now instead of gambling with your soul. The question is, after we die, does God give us a second chance to believe in Him and be saved? I hope so, because I'm having too much fun to bother with God right now. But I sure don't want to go to hell. That's from GT. Not one word in the Bible, not even one, gives us any reason to think that we will have an opportunity to turn to God and be saved after we die. The Bible says people are destined to die once, and after that to face judgment. From the book of Hebrews, chapter 9, verse 27. This is a sobering truth, and I pray you will take it very seriously. After all, why gamble with your soul? Why hold on to a few so-called pleasures right now, only to risk spending all eternity separated from God in that place of absolute sorrow and despair the Bible calls hell? Jesus called it a place where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, from the book of Matthew chapter 13 verse 42. You're right, you sure don't want to go there. But listen, God loves you. He doesn't want you to be part of the devil's kingdom any longer. Right now you think you are free, but in reality you are a slave to sin. And eventually you will pay a price for your determination to live your own way instead of God's way. The Bible warns there is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death, from the book of Proverbs chapter 14 verse 12. My prayer is that you will turn to Jesus Christ and open your heart and life to Him. You need His forgiveness, and you also need the joy and peace that come from knowing God and living for Him. Don't be deceived. any longer, but turn from sin and put your faith and hope in Christ. Now, readers, you can write to the Reverend Billy Graham at the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, 1 Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28201, or you may call Billy at 8772-GRAHAM. The website for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is at billygraham.org, Tribune Media Services.
And now a word for dear Abby.
Oh boy.
The little girl's many boyfriends raise a red flag for the mother.
Uh-oh.
Dear Abby, I am single and the mother of a 7-year-old girl. When she was 4 years old, I made the decision that there would be no parade of guys coming in and out of my life, or at any at all. I have barely dated anyone, and the few times I have dated, I have gone out, but I never talked about dating around my little girl. Over the last 2 or 3 years, she has come home every few weeks or months with a new boy that she likes. I never say much except that she's not allowed to have a boyfriend. Well, she recently swore her grandfather to secrecy and told him that she had a boyfriend.
Uh-oh.
Is this normal, Abby? Should I be concerned that she likes a new boy every few weeks, or that she didn't tell me and tell me that she had a boyfriend, even though I don't punish her for being honest? I am concerned about her being interested in boys at too young of age, at age 7. What can I do? Signed, Possibly Prude Mother. Dear Possibly Prude Mother, having a quote-unquote boyfriend at that age of 7 means something completely different than it does to a teenager or an adult. When your daughter tried to confide in you that she liked someone, you cut her off by telling her it was not allowed. If you had let her confide in you, she wouldn't have found the need to talk to her grandfather about having a boyfriend. I suggest that you open up the lines of communications between you and your 7-year-old daughter now, before it's too late. Dear Abby, taking care of a loved one who has Alzheimer's is very difficult. My boyfriend came up with a brilliant idea to help me maintain my own space, which is the basement in my family home, and still keep track of my mother upstairs. A baby monitor. Yes, that's right, a baby monitor. I could hear everything going on upstairs at night especially, and it made a challenging time for me much easier. Neil, let me share with you that both of my parents had Alzheimer's disease, and I wish I had known about the baby monitor when Dad was still alive. I hope this will help others to be more effective caregivers without compromising their own lives and personal space. Signed, Missing Mom and Dad in Montana. Dear Missing Mom and Dad in Montana. So do I, because placing a baby monitor in the room of a sick person at any age is a brilliant idea in case that person needs assistance. I have heard of this being done not only with Alzheimer's patients, but also with people in hospice programs whose caregivers cannot be with them every single minute of the day. I thank you, Missing Mom and Dad in Montana, for writing to me and sharing that wonderful idea. Finally, Dear Abby, I need suggestions on what to do to get a close family member to go out to lunch with me. I have offered this close family member to pay for lunch, let him pick the restaurant, and I would do the driving. His response is, nope, can't go, gotta check with my wife. Now, Abby, I'm in my late 80s, and he, my close relative, is in his 70s, and someday it's going to be too late. What are your suggestions, Abby? Signed, Looking to Lunch in the East. Dear Looking to Lunch in the East, try this. Invite his wife to come to lunch with the two of you. However, if that does not work, forget about it. Trying to get him to go because he may be less eager to see you than you are eager to see him. It's just that simple. Readers, you can write to Dear Abby at dearabby.com, or you may use the snail mail method with a real live envelope and a stamp by writing Dear Abby, Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069.
All right. Now let's go to the horoscope. Dear Abby doesn't work. If you were born today, you are no stranger to difficulty, and this will serve to strengthen your resolve in virtually all things, and also give you an outlook that is not what might be expected. You are far more positive than others who have been destined to endure trials on a regular basis. Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. Make sure that anything that engages you for more time than expected is something of your choosing. Sagittarius, November 22nd to December 21st. The difference between the genuine and the artificial will appear to you in a stark relief today as you face a situation. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. What you have to offer is worth more and to more people than what someone else has relied on for quite some time. Aquarius, January 20th to February 18th. You'll want to have certain issues illuminated in new ways today. You must lead the way. Others will follow if you carry the light. Pisces, February 19th to March 20th. How many ways can you make the simplest statement mean different things? Today, what you say will enjoy a variety of different interpretations. And Aries, come on over here, March 21st to April 19th. What you do today, Aries, to keep your emotions in check can be a learning situation for someone in your care, but it mustn't go on for too long. And Taurus, I'm a Taurus. Let's see what's up. April 20th to May 20th. Are you ready to take advantage of a situation someone created for you? You'll be unprepared only if you haven't paid attention. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. Okay, Gemmy, you've come a long, long way, but there is still a long way for you to go. Take a look at the path previously taken by someone you admire. Cancer. All right, here we go, Clark. You mustn't let a minor misunderstanding develop into a major crisis at home. It's up to you to keep humor engaged. And Leo, you're progressing faster than you had expected. July 23rd to August 22nd. In a way that may raise the eyebrows of those who are normally in charge. Leo, you are unique. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. Helping someone else is the same as helping yourself today. You may be tempted to step into a dangerous situation after hours. And Libra, September 23rd to October 22nd, what bubbles to the surface today is nothing to be concerned about, provided you have prepared yourself to face key emotional issues. And there is Stella Wilder's horoscope for today.
The time now is 11:30 in the morning on Thursday, on the 26th of October 2017. And it's that time for me to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayeteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations, and we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy,
and we are proud to serve you today. And ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It's tongue twister time.
Good luck.
Brought to you by the People's Pharmacy, as sponsored by Joe and Teresa Graydon.
Yay!
This is a tough time of year for allergy victims. Fall pollen can trigger symptoms that make people miserable. Sneezing is your tip-off that your nose soon will start running. Then there is the congestion that makes it hard to breathe, especially at night. And of course, your eyes are going to turn red and itchy. Many people also complain of spaciness. Allergies frequently make it hard to concentrate. You feel foggy. You feel sluggish. Driving is more hazardous when your allergies are acting up. If you have to sneeze frequently, you lose control of your vehicle for seconds at a time as your eyes involuntarily close sometimes. Allergy treatments also carry major risks. Older antihistamines such as chlorpheniramine or chlortrimeton, etc., and diphenhydramine, which is another name for Benadryl, are sedating. They make you sleepy. They can make you feel spacey, they can make you feel dizzy, and they can make you feel drowsy. Driving can be dangerous after taking a medicine containing diphenhydramine, and that comes to us from Human Psychopharmacology, dated May 2016. Newer antihistamines, such as levocetirizine, which is called Zylol in the commercials, and fexofenadine, which is also called Allegra in the commercials, are less likely to impair your driving ability. Corticosteroid nasal sprays have become hugely popular. Drugs such as beclomethasone or becanaze, fluticasone, which is also called Flonase, and trimethicolone, which is called Nazocort, do not come with a drowsiness warning and should not affect your driving ability. Corticosteroids do carry other risks, though. Please keep them in mind, however. The label warns us, patients to be alert for, yes, nosebleeds or changes to your vision.
Uh-oh.
Some people have reported that steroid nasal sprays lead to a loss of smell. A different kind of nasal spray that has received little attention involves a drug called cromolyn, which is also called nasal crom. It is neither a corticosteroid nor is it an antihistamine. This drug was originally derived from a plant called bishop's weed, Amy visnaga. It has historically been used to treat your asthma symptoms. Cromolyn works by stabilizing your mast cells in your nose. When allergens such as ragweed pollen come into contact with your mast cells in your nose, they release histamine and other inflammatory chemicals. However, cromolyn makes mast cells less likely to react to allergens. One allergy victim told us, an allergist told me about nasal crom back in the early 70s, and I tried it for a short time, but I started in the middle of allergy season, and it did not seem to work for me. So I went on to many other remedies, none of which worked completely. I've had terrible ragweed allergies for almost 61 years.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Since I was 13.
Woo!
I developed tree allergies about 25 years ago. And last spring, I read about nasal crom again and gave it another try. I gave it the old college try. And this time, I stuck with it.
Did it work?
It has been the most amazing allergy remedy I have ever used.
Well, there you go.
I could not even tell when the ragweed started to pollinate.
Wow.
Previously, I was so sensitive to the slightest trace of ragweed pollen that I've never had any symptoms whatsoever. I was very sensitive to ragweed until I started to use nasal crom again.
Nasal crom.
I usually used it only twice a day, sometimes at midday if I think of it. I have experienced no side effects. This year, I slept with the windows open in September for the first time since I was a child.
Wow.
Cromolyn works best when it is used before allergies take hold. In this regard, it is more a preventative treatment than other medications. People who are sensitive to cats or dogs tell us that the medication cromolyn works best if they use it several hours before visiting a friend that has pets. Cromolyn also has to be sprayed into your nose 2 or 3 times a day. That said, it is one more arrow in the quiver of allergy treatments, and Robin Hood would be proud of that statement. If you have any questions for Teresa and Joe Graydon, you can visit them on their website at peoplespharmacy.com.
Wow. All right. Well, here's some good news. The hospital residency program to train more doctors. Steve Devane writes this article. He is a staff writer. The Emergency Medicine Residency Program at our Cape Fear Valley Medical Center will expand from 24 doctors to 32, the head of the hospital said Wednesday. Cape Fear Valley CEO Michael Nagowski told hospital trustees that the accrediting agency that oversees the residency program had decided that the busiest emergency department in the state could train the additional doctors. 6 doctors are in the emergency medicine residency program this year. They are among 32 residents in 5 programs that the hospital started in July. 3 residents are learning about obstetrics and gynecology. 4 are in a general surgery residency program, and 8 are in internal medicine. 11 residents are in a transitional year, meaning they are taking a year to find out what they want to study, or are in a specialty that requires a transitional year. More than 150 residents are expected to be training at Cape Fear Valley within 5 years. Emergency medicine is one of the most competitive residency programs. The hospital has reached about 950 applications for 8 spots next year. So 950 people applied for the 8 spots that they have. In other action at the trustees meeting, Nagowski said Cape Fear Valley's new helicopter started flying critically ill and injured patients to and from the hospital October 5th. The aircraft has flown more than 20 times, he said. The helicopter, which hospital officials have described as a flying intensive care room, will be integrated with Cape Fear Valley's emergency operations. The trustees also voted to allow Nowakowski to complete negotiations for a new electronic health record system. The system will consolidate the hospital's electronic records, which are currently in several different systems. The trustees made the decision after meeting in closed session for a little more than an hour. Now, you can reach staff writer Steve Devane at sdevane@fayobserver.com, or you can call Steve at 486-3572.
And now we have an article written by Jamil Smith, a journalist based in Los Angeles, California. The title of this article is "Why Does Trump Dismiss Black Pain? White Rage." White anger is the dark matter of the LaDavid Johnson story. Ostensibly, that rage does not appear to be why President Donald Trump has spent a week disrespecting grieving black women, specifically Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's widow, Mashia Johnson, and Representative Frederica Wilson, a Democrat from Florida, the Congresswoman whom she considers to be like her family. But what we cannot see in it is the daily news coverage. We see its effects. White rage's gravity is warping not only what should be a solemn yet perfunctory duty for a president, but also pulling whiteness back to the center of a story that should only be about a young black widow and her 2 children, with a 3rd child on the way. We have been talking too much about white people and their anger since President Donald Trump started running for president. Really? The white resentment that unmasked itself during the Obama era, sparked by the Tea Party and Trump's birther crusade, had been pretty obvious even before the predominantly white media devoted legions of stories to it over the last couple of years in a fit of hillbilly elegy curiosity. It seemed apparent to people of color that this was the mysterious malady that caused people to support Donald Trump. The press, in the manner of Columbus, would eventually discover it too. Much less energy was devoted to, say, examining black anger about racial injustice and other issues. That is partly why the president was able to get so many, mostly white Americans, to believe the fiction that kneeling athletes were Betsy Ross blasphemers. Those attitudes give Trump license to make targets of outspoken sports commentators and various members of Congress, especially if they are women of color, his favorite opponents. The act of not believing black folks or performing confusion about our anger has social currency as well, since it makes it look as though we are all crying wolf. Even when we are talking about a pregnant military widow, perhaps the most sympathetic character in the entire American story. I don't seek to invalidate the animus of Donald Trump voters, much as it is often directed unfairly at people who look like me, and Jamil Smith is a black man. What I want is to decenter white cultural rage. There are additional and more justified reasons to be angry in America, such as the president calling you a liar right after you have buried your soldier's husband, killed in action for reasons yet to be determined. Sergeant Johnson was one of 4 Army soldiers who died on the 4th of October in Niger, reportedly the victims of Islamic State ambush. I qualify that a bit only because the Pentagon does not seem to know why these 4 men died, especially Sergeant Johnson, who was separated from the rest and not found until 48 hours later after the initial attack. Mashia Johnson was not allowed to see any part of her husband's body, and Saturday's funeral was a closed casket funeral. There are very serious questions for the Trump administration to answer here. That is even before we consider how badly Donald Trump later treated her during his condolence call, apparently not remembering Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's name and telling her callously that he knew what he was signing up for. On Monday morning, Mashia Johnson went on the record recounting what the president said. The widow told ABC's George Stephanopoulos that it made me cry because I was very angry at the tone of his voice and how he could not remember my husband's name. She also confirmed the damning account that both Representative Wilson and Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's custodial mother, Kawanda Jones Johnson, had given of the phone conversation she had with the president. Whatever Ms. Wilson said was not fabricated, she said during an interview on ABC's Good Morning America. What she said was 100% correct. It was Master Sergeant Neal, me, my aunt, my uncle, and the driver, and Ms. Wilson in the car. The phone was on the speakerphone. Why would we fabricate something like that? Donald Trump, as if by instinct, retorted with a tweet indicating that she had lied. I had a very respectable conversation with the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson and spoke his name from the beginning without hesitation. It isn't as if we could not see this coming, what the candidate Trump's vilification of another Gold Star's family of color last summer, something that may have actually gained him some fans. It is also the latest chapter in America's long history of mistreating African American military veterans, dead or alive. As Peter C. Baker noted in November in the New Yorker, the Equal Justice Institute in Alabama released a report about lynching shortly after the election that indicated that no one was more at risk of experiencing violence and targeted racial terror than black veterans of America's wars in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Baker also wrote, those veterans returning home from fighting overseas understandably felt more of an entitlement to equal treatment under the law, and the lynchings were intended to disabuse them of that notion. Lynching was one of the most violent forms of racial denigration in that era, but racial denigration that act by which bigots strip any respectability or humanity away from black folks to reinforce their false racial hierarchy has never gone away, and Donald Trump has such a gift for it that he used it to win the White House. He was elected by a swell of bigotry, and so he serves his masters with aplomb. It may only be consistent thing that he does. While he did not break out a noose for the Johnsons or Wilson, he did sick his dogs on them through his continued insistence that they are lying. Already, an Illinois man is being investigated for a Facebook post threatening to lynch Representative Wilson, knowing that his base either is racist or willing to vote in a man who would metastasize white supremacy. Donald Trump felt secure putting a black Gold Star family in the crosshairs of his rifle to escape accountability. The president knows that white resentment is a perfect fit for his pugnacious politics, so he can continue reflexively picking fights that wiser men ignore. Donald Trump has cover from his acolytic base, who see him putting the disrespect and hatred they have nurtured for so long exploding into presidential action. What appear to be confounding, unforced errors born of his inherent cruelty are also chunks of red meat for his base. The satisfaction that Donald Trump derives from feeding them clearly matters more to him than the outrage of a black war widow. If that is disturbing, consider that it makes some political sense to him to behave like this. Now, whose fault is that? And again, this article was written by Jamil Smith, and he is a journalist based in Los Angeles, California.
Wow, Clucky, you did a great job reading that long article. Well, the U.S. is going to tighten rules on airline security. I'm going to go to Dubai. John Cambrell wrote this article. He writes for the Associated Press. Moving to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, all incoming flights to the United States will be subject to new security screening procedures before takeoff, including both American citizens and foreigners possibly facing security interviews from airline employees, the U.S. government said Wednesday. Both American air carriers and global airlines must comply, affecting all of the 2,100 flights from around the world entering the U.S. on any given day. The directive is far broader than an earlier Trump administration ban on laptops inside the cabins of some airlines which only targeted 10 Mideast cities and their airlines. Confusion greeted the new rules, while 5 global long-haul carriers said they would begin the new security interviews today. Each offered different descriptions of how the procedure would take place, ranging from a form travelers would be required to fill out to being verbally quizzed by an airline employee. Other carriers insisted their operations remained the same. The security measures affect all individuals, international passengers, and U.S. citizens traveling to the United States from a last point of departure, international location, said Lisa Farbstein, a spokeswoman for the U.S. Transportation Security Administration. These new measures will impact all flights from airports that serve as last points of departure locations to the United States. The new rules come at the end of a 120-day window for new U.S. safety regulations to be implemented following the lifting of the laptop ban imposed on some Mideast airlines. They include heightened screening of personal electronic devices, and stricter security procedures in airport terminals. Details of the new rules first became apparent in a statement by Dubai-based Emiratis, which operates the world's busiest airport for international travel. In a statement, Emiratis said it would begin carrying out pre-screening interviews at its check-in counters for passengers flying out of Dubai and at boarding gates for transit and transfer flyers. It urged those flying through Dubai International Airport to allow extra time for flight check-in and boarding. These measures will work in complement with the current additional screening measures conducted at the boarding gate, it said. Hong Kong-based Cathay Pacific Airways said on its website that it has suspended self-drop baggage services and that passengers heading to the U.S. will be subject to a short security interview when checking their luggage. Those without bags would have a similar interview at their gates.
And finally, 911 calls show a woman accused of killing her child had mental problems. Fayeteville police responded twice since November to 911 calls describing someone having psychiatric problems at the home of a woman who was charged Saturday with murdering her 9-year-old son at a Fayetteville hotel. Police also received 2 calls from the same home in the 6,000 block of White Moss Court hours before Crystal M. Matthews was accused of killing her son, Zamari Chance, said Sergeant Sean Strapay, a police spokesman. On the 16th of November, the home's owner, Rashim Salman, called 911 and advised Crystal Matthews has been recently depressed and exhibited strange behavior. Strapay wrote in an email Wednesday, that is Sergeant Sean Strapay. Matthews voluntarily went with a medic unit to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center to undergo an evaluation. On September 14th, someone else at the home called to say that girlfriend having mental issues. Strapay wrote, he said the call was cleared as non-criminal and dispatch records did not provide further insight other than that the police, the Fayeteville Fire Department, and emergency management workers responded to that 911 call. Then, on the evening before Zamari died, Solomon called 911 from his home at 7:56 p.m. to report a verbal domestic dispute. Solomon told the dispatcher the ex-girlfriend is causing a disturbance. Strapay said 911 got a call on the 20th of October in which a sexual assault was reported, said Sean Swain, a spokesman for the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. Strapay told police and emergency workers that emergency workers responded to that phone call. He said the Special Victims Unit is investigating the whole 911 series of phone calls. Brenda Jackson, director of the Cumberland County Department of Social Services, said DSS has had no contact with Matthews or her son, and the agency is not involved in the investigation in Zamari's death because no other children were in the home. This concludes our broadcast of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts today have been Clark and
Nancy.
And at 2 p.m., please listen to the Southern Pines Pilot. 4 p.m., you may hear Off the Bookshelf. Additionally, you will hear a rebroadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. We thank you for tuning us in, and we have enjoyed being with you this morning, and we wish for you all to have a wonderful day. day. This is Clark and Nancy signing off. That's it.
Okay. All right.
We had a little bit of a problem.
Did we? Did they need to have it done?
It was in Valerie's office. That was it. We had a little bit of a problem. Yeah, I think we're off. We are off, right?